My name is Eleanor Brooks. I'm 35 years old. And the moment my relationship began to end didn't arrive with yelling or slammed doors. It came quietly, almost politely. It came with a sentence that sounded reasonable until it rewired my entire life. Don't wait for me, I might not come back. At the time, I didn't know that was a warning. I thought it was honesty. When I met Daniel, I was 31 and tired in a very specific way. The kind that comes from having built a life that looks stable on paper but still feels unfinished. He was charming without being loud, smart without needing to prove it. He worked in marketing. I worked in tech. We both earned well. We both liked good food, spontaneous trips, apartments with natural light. We moved in together after 18 months. A downtown place, 2 bedrooms, split rent, split bills, split groceries. It felt adult, balanced, equal. For a long time, it worked. We hosted dinners, took weekend trips, talked about the future in vague, comfortable terms, the kind where you assume alignment without checking the details too closely. Looking back, that was my mistake. The restlessness started about a year ago. Daniel began mentioning other cities, other roles, opportunities he wasn't applying for, just looking at. I asked if he was unhappy. He said no. Said he was just curious. Said curiosity didn't mean dissatisfaction. I wanted to believe that. Then 6 months ago, he got an offer. Different city, higher title, more money. He told me over dinner like it was trivia. That's incredible, I said. Are you taking it? He didn't answer, just smiled and changed the subject. A week later, sitting on the edge of our bed, he finally said it. I want to take it, but I need to go alone. Alone. He said he needed to know who he was without us, without the routine, without the relationship. I asked the question I already knew the answer to. So, are we breaking up? I don't know, he said. Maybe, or maybe just taking a break. That's when I told him I wouldn't wait in limbo. That's when he looked me straight in the eyes and said the sentence that ended everything. Don't wait for me. I might not come back. I saw it then, the decision already made. So I said, okay. 2 weeks later, he was gone. And I didn't chase him. I didn't know yet that this was the moment everything became irreversible. The day Daniel left, he didn't say goodbye. Not properly. I came home from work to an apartment that felt hollowed out. His side of the closet was empty. The bathroom drawer where he kept his electric razor was clean, like it had never been touched. The spare set of keys was gone from the hook by the door. On the kitchen counter, there was a note. Short, neat, practical. I'll come back for the furniture later. We can figure out how to split things once I'm settled. Once I'm settled. As if I was a storage unit. As if my life was something he could put on pause until it was convenient to unpause it again. I didn't reply. That night, I walked through the apartment slowly, room by room. The silence was loud. Every object carried a memory I hadn't asked to revisit. The couch we'd spent entire Sundays on. The dining table where we'd eaten takeout at midnight. The bed that still smelled faintly like his laundry detergent. I didn't cry. Not because I wasn't hurt, but because something inside me had gone very still. The next morning, I booked a week off work, and I started erasing him. I repainted every room. Neutral walls became warm, deliberate colors I'd chosen alone. I sold the couch, the table, the bed, every piece we'd picked together. I bought new furniture, different shapes, different textures, nothing familiar. Friends asked if it was too soon. I told them it wasn't about timing, it was about ownership. This wasn't our place anymore. It was mine. And in the middle of all that physical change, something deeper shifted, quietly, permanently. I made a decision I didn't announce to anyone. I wasn't going to stay emotionally available for someone who had chosen absence. 2 months later, at a friend's birthday party, I met Michael. He was calm, present. A high school history teacher who talked about his students like they mattered. No grand speeches about finding himself. No restless energy, just grounded. We took it slow. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was waiting for someone to decide if I was enough. 3 months after Daniel left, my phone buzzed in the middle of a meeting. A message from him. Hey, how are you? I stared at it for a long time before replying. Good, you? What he didn't know, what he wasn't prepared for, was that I wasn't frozen in the place he'd left me. I'd listened when he told me not to wait. And I hadn't. Daniel replied 20 minutes later. I'm okay, still settling in. The job's intense, but good. City's different. Different. That word carried weight when it came from him. It always had. Different meant unsettled. Different meant temporary. Different meant he was still looking for something he couldn't name. I typed back anyway. Glad to hear it. A pause. Then, how's the apartment? I hesitated. Not because I didn't know the answer, but because I knew he wasn't ready for it. I changed it. It's different now. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Different how? Repainted, new furniture. It doesn't really look the same. There was a long silence after that. An hour passed. I went back to work, finished the meeting, forgot about the conversation entirely until my phone buzzed again. You moved on pretty fast. I read the message twice, then once more. You told me not to wait, I typed. I didn't. This time his response came almost immediately. I know, I just didn't expect. Didn't expect what? That you'd actually listen. There it was. The assumption he'd been carrying without realizing it, that I'd remain exactly where he left me, emotionally intact, spatially unchanged, preserved. I thought there'd be a period where we both just existed separately, he continued, where nothing really changed except geography. I let that sit. Are you seeing anyone? I could have lied, could have softened it, chosen kindness over clarity. I didn't. Yes. Another pause. Already? It's been 3 months. That's fast, he said. We were together 4 years. You left, I replied. What did you expect me to do? That question stayed unanswered for hours. That night, close to midnight, when nostalgia gets louder and judgment gets quieter, he texted again. I miss you. I stared at the words longer than I should have. Missing me doesn't change what happened. I know, he said, but I'm allowed to feel things. So am I. Can we talk? Just once. I want to hear your voice. I shouldn't have called, but I did. Hi, he said, voice softer than I remembered. What do you want, Daniel? A pause, then carefully, is there any chance we could find our way back to each other? No. Just like that. He sounded stunned. It's only been 3 months. You told me not to wait, I said evenly. I respected that. Silence. I didn't think you'd actually start over, he finally said. I closed my eyes. That was your mistake. I thought that phone call would be the end of it. Closure. Clean lines. 2 people walking in opposite directions without dragging the past behind them. I underestimated how much Daniel believed history entitled him to access. A month later, on a Saturday afternoon, there was a knock on my door. I was in sweatpants, hair pulled back, halfway through cleaning the kitchen when I opened it. He was standing there. Daniel, holding 2 large lattes from the cafe we used to go to every weekend. Extra foam, exactly how we'd always ordered them. Hi, he said, like we were late for brunch. My stomach dropped. What are you doing here? I flew back for the weekend, he said. I wanted to talk. Properly, face to face. You should have called. He gave a small, rueful smile. You wouldn't have agreed. He wasn't wrong. Please, he said, just an hour. Every instinct told me to close the door. But curiosity, quiet, dangerous curiosity, won. 1 hour. The moment he stepped inside, I saw it on his face. Shock. His eyes scanned the apartment, taking in the warm walls, the new furniture, the unfamiliar layout. The space no longer mirrored his memory of it, and neither did I. Wow, he said softly, you really changed everything. I told you I did. It doesn't even feel like our place. It's not, I said, it's mine. We sat across from each other, coffee cooling between us. I made a mistake, he said finally, leaving. You didn't leave, I replied. You chose something else. I thought I needed space, he insisted. Time to grow. You needed to see if you could do better. His jaw tightened. That's not fair. It's accurate. He leaned forward. I had everything I needed. I just didn't realize it until I lost it. That realization came a little late. It doesn't have to be, he said quickly. We have history. 4 years. That has to count for something. It did, I said, until you decided it wasn't enough. His voice cracked. You replaced me. I shook my head. I moved on. Tears slid down his face, real this time. I want to come back, he said. I want to be with you. I stood. No, I said gently, because next time you feel restless, you'll leave again. I won't, he insisted. You already did. He left angry, hurt, humiliated, and I closed the door without following him. Daniel didn't disappear after that. He unraveled. At least that's what mutual friends told me. Little updates I never asked for but couldn't completely avoid. He wasn't sleeping well. The job that had once sounded like a dream had turned brutal. Long hours. A city that never quite felt like home. The excitement had burned off, leaving only pressure and regret. 2 weeks after he showed up at my door, my phone rang. I already knew who it was. What? I said, not bothering to soften my tone. I quit, he said. No greeting. No build-up. The job. Okay, I replied. Good luck with whatever's next. I'm moving back. I closed my eyes. Why are you telling me this? Because I want another chance, he said quickly. I'm done running. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing us. You're choosing familiarity, I said, because your adventure didn't work out. That's not true, he snapped. If it had, I'd still be there. He stopped himself. We both heard it. Silence filled the line. I'm not doing this again, I said. I'm with someone. I'm happy. You barely know him. I know enough, I replied. He didn't leave to figure out if he wanted me. You're really not going to give me another chance? No. His breathing turned ragged. 4 years. That means nothing? It meant everything, I said, until you walked away from it. I hung up, and this time I blocked him. Every number, every platform, every way he could reach me. No more late-night regret. No more emotional debris washing up at my door. A month later, Michael proposed. Quietly, thoughtfully, no hesitation. I said yes before he finished asking. Friends told me Daniel had moved back into a smaller apartment, took a lower-paying job, that he'd been asking about me, wondering if I'd talk to him just for closure. He already had it. He just didn't like how it felt. Daniel moved back to the city. I didn't hear it from him. I heard it the way you hear things about people you no longer share a life with, through mutual friends, half-finished sentences, casual updates dropped into conversations that weren't really about him. Smaller apartment, lower salary, different version of the future than the one he'd left for. Someone asked me once if I felt responsible, if I felt guilty knowing he'd made those choices hoping I'd take him back. I didn't. He hadn't moved back for me. He'd moved back because the life he'd chased didn't hold him the way he expected it to. That wasn't my burden to carry. Michael and I got engaged quietly. No big announcement. No spectacle. It felt natural, like something that had been true for a while and finally caught up to reality. We planned a small wedding. People who mattered. People who stayed. Apparently, Daniel heard about it. I didn't know how he reacted at first. I didn't ask. But on my wedding day, as I stood in a side room adjusting my dress, one of the coordinators leaned in and spoke softly. There's someone in the entrance asking for you. My stomach didn't drop. That surprised me. Security handled it. I'd given them his photo weeks earlier, not out of fear, but out of certainty. I didn't want the past bleeding into something I'd built carefully. Later, my parents forwarded a thick envelope that had arrived at their house. Daniel's handwriting. I didn't open it. I threw it away without reading a single word. Whatever he needed to say belonged to a version of me that no longer existed. It's been 2 years since he left, 18 months since I blocked him, 6 months since I became someone's wife. The irreversible change I made while he was gone wasn't repainting the apartment or replacing the furniture. Those things were surface level, reversible. The irreversible change was letting go, actually letting go. Not waiting, not holding space, not leaving the door unlocked just in case. He said, "Don't wait for me. I might not come back." So I didn't. And when he did come back, I was already gone.